Alright, so I now have two nice little pinch pots. Now I'm going to actually stick them together to form kind of an egg. But I can't just stick them together because they'll fall apart. So I've got to score the top of them. So I'm kind of making some nice dice marks all over the top of this and all over the top of this one. Make sure you have a nice smooth top to start with, a nice wide mouth. And then make your slices. So we've got two sliced up bottoms. Stick those suckers together. And as you do that, you want to kind of manipulate it. Push any bits of it together with your finger, with your thumb. Rubbing these edges. Pushing them together, but gently. You don't want them to crush into each other, otherwise you have to start all over. Just rub it with your finger and thumb. Kind of seal up any holes you see. This next thing is we're going to make sure it's airtight. We're going to kind of roll it and shape it a bit. You might remember this from doing maracas last semester. This is the same concept, except for now there's nothing inside. I'm making sure no holes break open as I roll. Just kind of rolling it, making it kind of smooth. I'm going to try and make it a little bit narrower on one end. This will make it easier for you in the next step, but if you can't do it, it's not a big deal. Just do it to the best of your ability. And then I'm going to go and cut off that narrow end. If you had a wire cutter, this would be the best thing to use for this. But I don't, so I'm just going to gently cut the knife, making sure I don't smash it as I cut. And I again have two pots. What I'm going to do is put this one on top of the other as a sort of head on top of my owl. But what I must do first, obviously, I need to score this. And I need to score this end. And I always find that it's easier to kind of make some divots in here, push in with my fingers, so I kind of have an idea for where his eyes will be, and kind of mushes it together a bit, so it fits that much better on top of the scored top. Then I'm able to just take it and rub it down with my thumb, because again, we're working with very wet clay. If it was a drier clay, you might have a little bit of trouble with this. Some wet clay, we're rubbing this down. I'm going to rub up some ears for this guy. You know, give him a nice little scalp massage. Give him some eyes. Just kind of generally give some facial features. We'll work more on that in a minute. But give him some facial features. Make sure that this line right here, this is going to crack. So you need to kind of make sure you go through with your thumb and forefinger and rub it so you don't see that line. This will help you to make sure it won't crack, because nobody wants an owl whose head pops off in the kiln. That's just not cool. And again, on the back, rub this down. Rub this, make sure you don't have that seam, otherwise your head's going to pop off. And that's going to be awkward for everyone. Alright, so now we have our owl. And we are ready to start designing it. So my owl, it kind of sits at a funny angle with the pot. So I think what I'm going to do is have his stomach up here, some wings coming back, and his head kind of looking over his shoulder like this. You can do it straight on, you can do it to the side like me, whatever you feel is right. But the next thing we'll do is using tools like this, using other clay tools that we have, we'll design and make textures within our owl. This could be just simply by poking him and making textures like feathers. We might draw on an eyeball for him. We might do something additive where we get a bit more clay and maybe add some feathers onto him. Those aren't going to stay, you need to score them. But you could do something additive or subtractive by cutting into them and cutting a design into them. Here are my 3 examples. This guy, he has his eyes cut into him. He's got this cool pattern on his belly and then a different pattern on the back. And then you can see his wings are actually just these, this sort of line motif. This guy is just all texture all over the place, and he kind of looks like a gremlin owl to me. He's got flat eyes, and everything else is the same sort of all over texture. Very simple to make. You can be super successful by just cutting them a bunch. And then this guy, he has additive eyes. So they are eyes that had pieces of clay added to it, so they actually pop out with marks within them. And this cool diamond texture on the belly, the wings that go back, and then just this simple line texture all around the back and the back of his head. He also has nice pointy ears. The one thing you definitely want to add at this stage, though, once you have your nice texture done, is this little guy right here. There's another one right here under his ear. Or this guy has one right up here. What these are simply holes. You see, when you put this in the kiln, all of the air in the kiln heats up really, really hot, like lava hot. And when it heats up lava hot, it builds up steam, it builds up pressure, and if there's not a way for that to escape, your head pops off, and then no more owl. So you always want to leave an escape hatch for that air. That way, your head doesn't pop off. All right. If you're to this stage, we're ready to let it sit for a week and pop it in our kiln. After that, we'll be ready to glaze it and put it in the kiln again. And that's Simple Owls.